Hi there, and welcome to the Live Vybrant Podcast, where we explore how to live with energy, purpose, and intention. I'm your host, Joshua Haag, a holistic lifestyle, performance, and success coach with a background in professional sports and 2 decades of coaching experience. Each week, I sit down with experts across a multitude of fields, including wellness, finance, and personal growth, to uncover practical strategies that will help you thrive in every area of life. Let's dive in and help you live your most vibrant life. I'm so excited to have on Mila Johanson today. She is a writer, a publisher, and a public speaking coach. I am beyond excited to ask some very personal questions as I'm going through my publishing journey. And I know so many of our listeners are trying to cross into that realm and are scared to do it. So Mila, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk this through.
Thank you, Josh. I'm excited to be here and honored.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about from pen to published, that's your company name, where this all started, your background in it. I know there's some fun little tidbits about your grandma. Tell me your story with it.
Well, it's funny because I've always wanted to be a writer since I was 8 years old, and I went and saw Mary Poppins, which it kind of dates me, right? The first one with Julie Andrews. And I came back home and I locked myself in my room and I drew some chalk drawings. They're probably crayons, and I can't even draw stick people, so they probably weren't very good. And I closed my eyes and I tried to jump into the chalk paintings like they did in the movies. And I thought I would be transported to, the beautiful land of merry-go-rounds and flowers, because we were really poor, and penguins, and I wasn't. So I tried 8 times and it didn't work. So I said, well, if I can't go into the magical world this way, maybe if I write a book like Oz, or Nancy Drew, because my mother had read me all the Oz books. She had the big thick ones from the originals, which are worth a lot of money now. And so I started writing my first book, and I wrote a chapter and a half and I quit because I was 8. But when I was 18, my mother said to me, Mila, I know you've always wanted to be a writer. Why don't you write 1 sentence a day for a month? And I said, oh, well, I could write a sentence a day. And you can't, because it's like potato chips. You can't just do one. And so I'd write a page and a half or more. And by the end of the month, I was a writer. And so now I do that to people. I would do that to you, Josh. I would say, okay, everybody write 20 minutes a day. That's all we ask. Actually, that's the word on the street in the writer's world. And I would say even 5 minutes a day adds up to a book. Toni Morrison, the famous novelist? Well, she said for her first novel, she only had 15 minutes a day because of raising children and working, and the rest is history.
But realistically, you say it's like potato chips. So it's, even though I'm quote unquote, I'm writing for 15 minutes, I'm going to end up sitting there for an hour, because once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah, people say, Mila, you tricked me. I'm writing for 2 hours now. That's what my mother did.
I love that. She was a smart woman. So, okay. What was your first book?
My first book, well, behind me, I wrote everything behind me. If you see, it's a big 3 cabinets.
Yeah.
And those are all my plays and musicals that I wrote. And they go around the world slowly. I have 22. And so those were pretty much my first big writings. And then I put this book together, my grandmother's book. This is every woman's story of winning the right to vote. She came from a terrible childhood, kind of like me, but hers was worse because there was, I hate to say this, murder and incest on a big Colorado cattle ranch. But a teacher saw how brilliant she was and sent her to the East Coast, to New England, and she ended up in the college there, and she never looked back. She must have had a star above her head, because her first job, you're not going to believe what it was. She put together the Pulitzer School of Journalism in 1911. And then,
wow.
Yeah. With one other man. She was with a professor. And then she set the first minimum wage for women from, if you can't believe it, $4 a week to $8 a week, and helped get children out of the factories. Then they sent her down to D.C. to become the first woman lobbyist. And then later on, she spoke all over London with George Bernard Shaw. She was his speaking partner. And then she later taught Eleanor Roosevelt public speaking and thousands of other women.
That's incredible. Okay. And so you're basically, you're starting to tell, well, you're telling these stories. What got you into then kind of creating a company to help others tell their story?
Yeah, well, I come from a family of teachers. My grandmother was a teacher. She taught Eleanor Roosevelt and thousands of other women. My mother was a teacher. And so I became a teacher, and I taught at our school for adults, and I did all of these teaching offline and doing things. And then COVID hit, and I had to reinvent myself. And her book actually came out in March 2020, the month COVID officially hit. And so I had to reinvent myself, and I'd been teaching all this forever, public speaking and writing and how to publish and theater. I had a huge theater company. So then I had to reinvent myself and I had to learn Zoom, and I started taking classes with all the bigwigs in business, Iman and Robert and all kinds of people. And I lucked out. They all took me under their wing, and I learned how to teach, make online courses, and then I wrote this book, which has sort of been my flag, which I teach now too. And it's garnered me thousands of emails. And so anyway, but I learned so much about publishing because I already knew a lot, but I had to reinvent myself on Amazon and learn all about that, because Amazon gives us so many attributes and is free to do. And so now I'm not bragging, but I probably know more about self-publishing on Amazon than almost anyone on the planet. When I don't, I know who to go to. I have a huge team, no, small team, but they're huge. When they do the work, they put the books together. We just helped 8 people publish their books in the last 6 weeks.
That's incredible. So tell me about your process. So actually rewind. I'll let the viewers and as well as you into knowing my problems. I am currently trying to publish and working on publishing 2 books. And one of them, I had found this publishing company, and basically I thought they were great. I vetted them. I thought everything was fine. Long story short, it's been about 4.5 months. And they've ghosted me. There's nothing. So I actually just went through Chase fraud. I flagged them as a fraudulent company. And it was like, we kind of started communicating, and then there was zero turnaround in terms of what they were supposedly supposed to produce and help me do. And luckily Chase is so incredible, but I am very scorned in terms of trying to help people. And this was literally yesterday. I had the phone call with Chase of like, hey, giving them dates and sending the emails. So as someone who does and helps someone self-publish, I am going through the ringer of it right now. I
know that story.
It's not hard I think the easiest way for me to say it. It's not crazy, but it is like there's a process, and standing on the outside of it, not knowing anything on how to get in, it's confusing. It's not complicated. It's just confusing. Do you go Amazon? Do you stay out of Amazon? Where do you do your ISBN, which is your book numbers, right? If you go through Amazon, they give you a free one, but then you have to pay for it if you're going to sell it anywhere outside of Amazon. Then do you need a Library of Congress number? I've been learning, but it's still confusing, and like no one's able to stand back and tell me, here's what you should do. This is like,
right.
So if I were to ask you, and for anyone listening, like for instance, my father, who has been talking about publishing a book, blue in the face. Yes. And I'm trying to get him to do it and just right, because I want his work. I want him to write something that I can keep forever. He's just dragging his feet. So I'm going to use your potato chip analogy on him. I'm telling you right now. How do you even start? Tell me just a little bit about the process. I'm going to hop on right now, right where I'm working with you. How do we begin? Where do we look? Tell me about it.
Well, what I do is I start wherever you are. I can do it A to Z. Every single aspect, from starting to maybe finishing what you started, to taking the book that they ghosted you on and doing it now. In fact, guess what, Josh? I've had to do that. My friend says I should make a website called getyourbooksback.com, because I've helped 8 people get their books back from negligent, I'm being nice, publishers. In fact, this book here, My 101 Theater Games, which has been very popular bestseller all over the world and used in universities to teach teachers.
Wait a minute. I've 101 theater games, because I did dance and theater all through college.
Oh, yeah, but you had it. Yeah. It's a big book.
It looks really familiar.
Well, my publisher finally ghosted me. And so what I did was I took my book back, and I had my incredible book designer not redesign it. It's the same. In fact, I wrote this a long time ago, but she said, Mila, this is like you wrote it yesterday. It's still so apropos. But what happened is I had to redo the whole book, copy it, and then we put it up on Amazon so I could have control of it. Now, here's the thing. You were saying, should I be on Amazon? Should I not? But the thing is, if you publish with anybody, if you get traditionally published or you work with these side publishers, which I don't suggest unless you really know who you're dealing with. There's a few good ones and most of them are not. So, because I've had to help save all these other people's books. But what you do is you're going to be on Amazon anyway. Because I come to some truist people who don't like Amazon. They go, well, I don't want to be on Amazon. They go, there's no way to avoid it. Because Amazon gives us so many attributes. Like you can get samples and read your book before you do it. They give you a huge web page with everything on it, and you put your headshot and your bio. And I mean, Amazon gives us so many attributes. I teach a whole class just on the attributes, and I love Amazon. I mean, I just think there's no other way of going. And I think if you want to, here's the deal. If you want to be traditionally published, it could take 2 years to get an agent, 2 more years to get published. You're 4 years out. But if you want your book right now because maybe you want to show expertise, or you want to do your memoir for your family, which I suggest everyone do it, even if your kids don't want it now. And then what you do is could be published in, this year. You could be published in 2 months. I had one woman come and she wanted her book out in 3 weeks, so we did it. In fact, the other day, a woman came to me with a workbook that she needed for a summit 2 weeks forward, and I got Margaret. She's incredible. She's done it longer than me. She's done it 40 years. And she designed her book, put it into InDesign, which is the best way to do a book. And we got the book to her that afternoon, and she and I loaded it that night, and we got the book published in 2 days. So there's
And you said she loaded it into InDesign? What is InDesign?
Well, InDesign is where my book designer put it in. That's part of the Premiere package, with editing and all that. And Photoshop's in it, Premiere editing, and then InDesign is the best way to do a book. It takes a lot to learn, but she's an expert in it. In fact, she was an expert in AI for 10 years before we ever heard of it. She's a genius, and she and I work together. But anyway, so we got her book up. She put it into InDesign. She had it designed and ready, but she didn't have it in a format we could publish. So that's what Margaret did. And then that night we got together, we went on her KDP, which I suggest everyone join KDP now. And then
And what is, freeze for me, what is KDP?
Yeah, thank you. Of course. KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing, but don't let that fool you, because Kindle Direct Publishing is for all your formats. I say do all your formats because it's real estate. So it's for your paperback, your hardcover, your ebook, and your audiobook, which you can do completely for free. I have a class of that. And so anyway, but so she got her book up on KDP. And the reason you want to join today, everybody, that's your first assignment. Join KDP today. It's connected to your Prime account. No, pay attention. You have your Prime account, and then you're going to get a KDP account on a completely different website. I mean, on net site. So what happens is, the thing is, it's the same password. So then when you get on KDP, guess what? You can get tutorials from them, and you'd learn a lot. And most people will learn all that, but they still want to come to me to hold their hand up. Oh, click this, click that. But they'll also give you a template, and you can type your books straight into a template. But let's say you already have your book done, like you, Josh. You could copy your book, dump it straight into the template, and you're ready to go. You may have to edit for a while and reconfigure a little bit. I took a woman, that's another class I teach, is how to use already written material to create your book. So I took a woman who had a beautiful master's thesis on altars, and we copied her book, and I was with her. She lived in my town. I usually work with people all over the world. Anyway, she was in my town, and we went to the library, and I told her how to get a template. Join KDP, get a template. And we dumped her book into the template, and she had a book in 5 minutes.
So then what happens? So after you do the dump, you get it formatted, it's in the template, ready to go. So now that's your basically final formatted manuscript. Now what?
Then you need to, it has to be a PDF to put onto Amazon. And I had one of my clients call me last night. He goes, it won't load. I go, did you make a PDF? Oh, no, I forgot. So he had it in Word. So, you write it in Word. Don't write it in Pages, please. It makes you completely crazy. Write it in Word. I hate Word. It sucks. And then you put it in a PDF. But watch out. When you put it in a PDF from Word, it can shift. So you have to go through it meticulously and make sure it didn't shift too much. And then your cover has to be a PDF as well. And there's wonderful cover makers on Fiverr that will do them for like $35, $65.
Yeah, I'm vetting them right now.
Yes, good. I have a good one for you. I have an excellent one.
I can't wait. I would love it.
Yeah, he did several of my clients already. And he's really good. And Margaret, when she does the InDesign for you, the interior, she actually will do the cover as well, and she's excellent at covers. So I have several options that I can share with anyone.
I love it.
And so, but the main thing is, this is something to remember about a cover, Josh. A cover, this is what someone told me once, and I really remembered it. A cover is a business decision. So there's a lot to it. Here's a way to decide what kind of cover you want. Here's the trick. Go to your bookshelf at home and look at 10 books and see what covers you like. Then open the books and see what design you like. How does the chapter list look? Where is the page number? Make sure the margins are good. The margins are really important. I get a lot of books that people make, not me, but other people, and I open them up, and you almost have to tear the book open because there's not enough margin in the gutters. There's little considerations like that.
It's interesting. A cover as a business decision is a really wise, I'll say, saying. I have a brilliant young lady who's helping me basically do the second book. So the publisher, I gave them a cookbook. I was a chef for almost 20 years, still am, culinarily trained and a nutritionist. And the book I'm trying to publish is the culmination of both of those skill sets. And all of it from a coach's point of view, since I help people every day fix all sorts of things about their body. So it's everything that I know as a nutritionist and everything that I know as a chef, because nutritionists usually can't make delicious food and chefs have no idea how to eat healthy, like truly macros and like healthy. So I'm trying to give this tutorial book to people and be able to, within the company, but as well as out into the world of like, hey, here's all this incredible information. Here's how to actually fix your life and your body. And then here's 45 recipes. I owned a meal prep company for 2.5, 3 years. And it's all of this wonderful, all my recipes done in 6 different dietary variations. So it's like, here's how to actually eat and all of the routines that you need. Well, the kicker is I knew that was going to be complex. So I gave it to the publishing team because the sleep book I'm publishing for my new company, that's the flagship book, is this sleep book. And it's given out with my sleep product that I'm just coming off the market with. And it's going to be given out for free with this sleep product. And it's a full, here's how to actually fix your sleep. Here's how to fix your lifestyle, your habits, your stressors, your internal imbalances. Yeah. So I really dove in and I didn't want to give that out to the world in case something like this happened. Because it's like I need that to be the bread and butter. So that being said, I have a brilliant young lady who's basically backing me up and helping me navigate all of this. And she literally just gave me homework 2 days ago. And she's a bookworm. She says she writes and that's a big passion of hers. So she's like, I need you to find me 5 covers. Find me 5 covers and then give me notes. And then literally I'm scrolling through Google and I'm just like, man, I can't figure out. All of the sleep book covers look the same. They feel the same. And I'm just like, none of them speak to me. So you're saying a cover is a business decision. And I stepped back and literally had a moment sitting at the computer of like trying to figure out how I want to get out into the world with this piece of information. That really resonates to me. And I know you just grabbed something. What did you grab?
Well, I just want to show you. We did 2 cookbooks we were very proud of. But here, we're really quick. I want to give you another hint how to find your cover. Go on to Amazon. Everybody can do this for any genre. Type your genre in, because I was just helping another woman do a book on healing retreats. And so I said, let's go look at healing retreats. I go, but why don't you look at cookbooks? Because sometimes they have a really good layout of like story, picture, recipe. These 2 books we did. This is the Garden Goddesses.
Oh, I love that cover.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful cover. And look at it. We did a shadow on the back, and then and we had these goddesses, and then everybody put their recipes in, and then what we did was we did their picture of them,
bio,
and recipes in full color, and we made sure the recipes were all the same format. That was another thing. But then I did this one for a very famous journalist in New Jersey, and she had her friend do the artwork for her books. It's very funny. It's a very funny book, and she's on the red carpet. She's at the White House. She's done all these things.
That's amazing.
And this book is about the people she worked with, like Snoop Dogg. She made a recipe for Snoop Dogg. Then she was with the Golden Girls and then the Housewives. So she made a recipe to go with each person she interviewed. And this is her with all her animals. She has a lot of animals.
That's adorable.
We've done 2 cookbooks. And so, but the main thing I had them do was go on and look and see what other people are doing on cookbooks. Like open them up and see how the recipes look. Do you want them centered in lines? Do you want them jagged? Do you want, and then go, but for you, Josh, go on and look at all the cookbook covers you see and then take screenshots of the ones you like and give them to somebody to make your cover. Say, I kind of want it like this, but I always say copy everybody, but it's never going to look the same. It's never going to sound the same. But go ahead and copy anybody you want and make it your own.
Right. And it's copy is the wrong word. You're using them as inspiration. You're never going to take their identical thing, but it's inspiration.
You're right.
It's cartoon versus, is it a picture of your food? Are there lots of words? Is it not? And we went back and forth on it pretty heavily for the cookbook, and we're going to have to restart that portion of it. The formatting was easy. The actual layouts of the recipes and stuff, I knew exactly how I wanted it, because what we're doing can get confusing, right? Because it's one recipe done 6 different ways, 45 recipes.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
So let's say I'm making you a cowboy quiche, one of my breakfasts. I did 10 breakfasts, 10 lunches, 10 dinners, snacks, desserts. So let's say it's going to be a cowboy quiche. It's going to be a regular recipe. It's going to be vegan. It's going to be vegetarian. It's going to be low sodium, heart health. It's going to be a carnivore, and it's going to be, I'm missing one, and I can't think it off the top of my head right now. Anyways, there's 6 variations. I did the original picture. So, and now mind you, it's all my food. So this is what I've created through the meal prep company. And it's basically the first page. Like if you're looking at a page, this has the entire recipe on this page. And then it goes with the 6 variations down the sides. Because like, let's face it, when you're reading a cookbook, you want to see the food. That's the thing that draws you to that recipe. And so I wanted it nice and big.
Yeah, and the pictures are really important. But here's another thing is that you need to think of size. Like these are all 8 by 10, which is a nice size for a cookbook. It can be 8.5 by 11, but I think it's classier to have 8 by 10. Think about size too. Give that some thought right now. In fact, industry standard for most books is 6 by 9.
So you would do 8 by 10 for cookbook, and then you said a 6 by 9 for others.
Like if you're writing
for the sleep book, it would be a 6 by 9.
For your business book, 6 by 9, and then here's the difference, 6 by 9, da 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 da, and then because most books are 6 by 9, like most books you buy, some people do 5 by 8, but and it depends, where it's going to sit on the shelf if it was going into a bookstore. That's a whole nother subject we don't want to talk about.
That's a follow-up question I want to ask, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Actually, let's wait because I'm going to ask that. Keep walking me step by step from your eyes through this process, right? So you did the KDP, the templates, you did all that. Now it comes time to upload. You just go on Amazon, you follow their steps, upload, you have a book, or no?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do that. They have 3 pages. They're a lot easier than Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark is where you also want to put your book, real estate, right? Again, for libraries and bookstores to buy. But the thing is, do that later. And so do Amazon first. Otherwise, you don't have total control of the book on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And because some people go through Ingram Spark first, and that's not the way to go, because you're going to make way, way, way less royalty. So you go on to, and it's the same ISBN. ISBN number is another thing. You buy your ISBNs through Bowker. If you're in England, I think it's called Nelson. But anyway, so what you do is you look. Wait a minute. Now I lost my train of thought. Your question was, say it again.
We were talking basically everything we did. We created everything. We found our cover, wonderful thing. It's now time to actually get it to Amazon, get it posted. Now you're saying it's super easy. There were 3 pages.
Right, 3 pages that you have to fill in, and they're pretty easy. It's like someone told me the other day, a neat thing. I can give you all the dots, but you might need me to connect them. So you can do those 3 pages by yourself, and you can do the tutorials. But in the end, there's these considerations that I know that most people don't know, and part of that is the category. When you get the right categories, your book will be discovered. And when you get the right keywords, your book will get discovered. And there's little things like don't repeat keywords and categories. Don't repeat the same words. And then also right now you can do 5-word phrases in your keywords, which most people don't know. So then, now here's the real secret coming up. Okay, so you do the 3 pages, you load your book, and then do not publish. Do not publish. What you want to do is get your sample. That's the best attribute of Amazon. And you would send a sample to you, to other people, and one of the other best attributes of Amazon is you get to drop ship. So let's say we drop ship it to the cover maker, we drop ship it to the designer, who does the InDesign, and we send 3 to us. And there's a process to do that. You can't order different addresses, so you kind of have to order them separately, but you order them there. So here's your Prime account, here's your KDP account, right? 2 different completely websites. So now you're loading your book on your KDP account. You order your sample on KDP account. In 2 hours, they send you a little message, and then you buy your book on your Prime account. That's where it gets a little tricky. But what I'd like to go through with you really quick is, this is really, really important, Josh, my publishing schedule. And really, it's real easy, But most people are going to tell you, and I'm sure you've heard this, do the ebook first. And even cookbooks are becoming ebooks now. You'll see all cookbooks that you look up for covers and information are ebooks. And some are becoming audiobooks creatively. So what you do is you do your paperback first or your hardcover, whichever one you're going to do. But don't do both at the same time because they compete for bestseller. But don't do the ebook first, anybody, when you're doing a regular 6x9.
Why?
All these companies trying to sell you their program, $1,000, $5,000 will make you a bestseller. Well, you can become a bestseller with an ebook 3 months later, 3 years later, 10 years later. That's not a secret. They just don't want to tell you that because they want to sell their program or they don't know it. But do your main book first. So it's either your paperback or your hardcover. I would say paperback for most people. And then wait 3 to 4 weeks before you do your ebook and your hardcover, or the opposite. And then
Why?
you can start your audiobook right away. And I'll tell you why. Is because people will buy the ebook and then you won't make that first royalty. Now, the reason my main reason, besides royalty, that I want the paperback done first or the hardcover, I want my book in people's hands and on their shelf. I don't want them just to have it online because they found out, they did a study that people only read 1/3 of an ebook, but a regular book, it's on their shelf forever. And I want my books on people's shelves and in their hands. And besides that, that's when you make your most money in the beginning to pay whoever else you paid to help you with the book, to pay off that. And your book hopefully will continually sell with the advertising. But that's the main thing I want to impart to people today. Don't let people sell you a huge program. They're going to make you a bestseller. I can make you a bestseller with your paperback, which is hard to do. And I can't promise it. It does with all my people because they do everything I say, but not everybody. And becoming a bestseller on Amazon is not becoming a New York Times bestseller. It's a completely different thing. But
right.
But you use it as advertising and then you take a
It's leverage.
Yeah, but exactly, Josh. And here's the main thing. Paperback, wait 3 weeks. Then do the ebook and the hardcover, and then start the audiobook right away. But right now you might be scrambling to get the book out, so you might want to wait till you're done with that first advertising scramble, and then get the audiobook started. And that's through another company, ACX, which is also, here's what happens when you do ACX. Password is the same for Prime, KDP, and ACX. They're a separate company, but they're connected to Amazon, and that you can audition people. And I have a beautiful free reader who did my Cinderella books. She's working on the 3rd one that just came out, and she is amazing. And she does it for free because she gets half the royalty. So that's the thing. When you do a book, it's 1/3 royalty. You get 1/3 of the cost. When you do a audiobook, you get 40%. But if you're doing royalty share, 20%.
In terms of the finished royalty.
Yes, yeah.
Explain that to me a little bit.
Well, let's say my grandmother's book is $17.95, 300 pages, compared to this book, which is $11.95, 70 pages. And there's pretty price points for books, and I tell that too. So for this book, I get $6.25 royalty.
And then where do the other thirds go?
The 2/3 is for Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you were going to be traditionally published, you get $1 or $2 a book. You probably sell more books. But then with this book, I get $3, $3.50 or something. But then when you're doing your audiobook, like for my grandmother's book, I get 40% of I think they sell it for, they decide the price according to pages. We decide prices for books. They decide prices for audio. And I still get the same amount. They sell it for $17.95. I still get, I get 40%, but my reader gets 20 and I get 20. You can read, now, Josh, someone like you with your own recording everything, you can read your own book a lot of time, and you got to do some editing. But that's something, I meet a lot of people who want to read their own book, but they don't have a recording studio. And even if they just set up a good Yeti, they could do it, but they don't know how. So I kind of steer them to doing the royalty share one, because otherwise it could cost them $2,000, $5,000 to work in a recording studio. So there's a lot to it. As you can see, there's a lot of layers, and this is what I help get people through.
Right. A lot of decisions to make. What do you see as some of the biggest mistakes that young writers trying to get this into the world? What do you see them? What are these mistakes that they make?
I think they go too fast, and they do it without samples, for one thing. Make sure you get those samples, because that's such a great attribute. And also there's one mistake that some of my people have been making without telling me is once you get up your Prime account and you become an author, don't change your name ever. Don't add doctor or anything on later. And don't change your email ever. One of my clients thought she should have a different email for doing the book, and it messed her up completely, and we can hardly get her back on Amazon. So the main thing is you need a Prime account, or it could be, I think it could be a regular account. I just haven't run into that because everyone has Prime. And so I'm going to call them and ask them that question. That's a great thing. You can call them. There's no number to call, but you go to your KDP account, scroll down to the bottom, and contact us, and they'll call you back in 5 minutes. Always. They're fantastic. And you can call them as much as you want. I try not to bother them too much, But anyway.
But they get to know your name?
No, they don't, because I don't call that much. But what I do with my clients, I have them call and put me on speakerphone so I can make sure we're asking the right questions, because they won't answer questions about someone else's book unless they're there.
Right.
So that's another great attribute. Yeah. So that's, I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah. So samples is a big problem, and going too fast. I love it. And then realistically, can you just elaborate a little bit on I know it's been a little confusing, the ISBN situation, as well as your Library of Congress number. For those who don't know, and you're going to be able to explain much better, but this is, I would say, the legality of a book, right? This is what actually claims you as like the legal property to you, correct? Maybe I'm wrong in that.
Have Library of Congress. I did Library of Congress for my grandmother's book because it was my big book. It was a big book. But I don't do it for all my other books. I have 14 books. And because, guess what? As soon as you type your book into your computer, it's copyrighted because of the timestamp.
Interesting. So then what is an ISBN then?
Okay, but Josh, maybe for your cookbook, since that's sort of like your opus, your big thing, I would do Library of Congress just in case. You can do that. What is it, $180 right now? What is that about what it is right now? Yeah, I would do it. It's a cheap way to do something. I'd even have a VA do it or something.
In depth, what ISBN is, and I would also say Library of Congress. What are they?
Well, it's funny because one of the Cinderellas who was in the first book, she works at the Library of Congress. And so I get a lot of info and stuff. And so, yeah, the Library of Congress is where you can record every book. And it used to be really important in the old days, and everybody did it. And I do it for my big books. And what you do is you go onto their site and you sign up and you pay the fee, and then you have to send them the book. But wait till the book's ready, or that's a mistake. You want to make sure till the book is almost completely ready. But right now I want to say one thing to all of you. Raise your right hand and promise me that you will forgive all the mistakes you're going to find in your book after it's published. Okay? Because that happens. Hay House, they have 7 to 12 editors, and even then there's a few mistakes that get through. So that's one thing I want to give you permission, is to not torture yourself about that. But you give them your best foot forward, because this is a secret. Once your book is published on Amazon, like my book came out and a friend said, Mila, I know you don't want to hear this, but I found 5 mistakes. I go, no, I do want to hear it. I want to make it better. So we fixed the 5 mistakes. We reloaded it. You can reload your book as many times as you want, and you cover.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So on to Bowker? On to ISBNs?
Yes.
Okay. ISBNs a little tricky. So here's what goes on with ISBNs. You can get free ISBNs from Amazon for your books. And I would say do that for your little books. If you're going to write your short books, 36 pages is the shortest book you can write on Amazon, and still have a little bit of a spine. 25 pages is the very shortest book, but I say 36, and I tried to write 36, but I ended up writing 70 with this book. So you can get free ISBNs. Sometimes for those books, my smaller books, I'll take that free ISBN because I know I'm not going to put the book on Barnes & Noble. I know I'm not going to put the book on Ingram Spark. So, but
why wouldn't you?
For my big book, well, some books, I think you have to have 40 pages. So if your book was 36 pages, you couldn't anyway. But you could. I say do it all because it's real estate. I have 4 books on Ingram Spark right now. And it's a lot more heavy of a process. They're not as intuitive as Amazon. Margaret says, because she's been in printing for 40 years, she says they're doing it old school. And so every time I take someone on to do Ingram Spark, we run into a glitch, have to wait, come back the next day. But it's okay, we get them on. And you can use the same, so if you buy your ISBN, so if you get your ISBN for free through KDP, you can't use that on Ingram.
Anywhere else.
And Yeah, that's the thing. But that's for little throwaway books. Little books we're going to use as lead magnets or whatever. So but then what you want to do probably, and you Josh are going to have to do this, is buy your book, your ISBNs on Bowker, Bowker. That's the only way you can do it. And so you want to buy your books on Bowker. I mean, your ISBN, sorry. We're
No, it's
talking
okay.
about a lot of things. So, and then what you do is you can never buy one. Raise your right hand and promise me you will never buy one. Okay, so Margaret encouraged me to buy 100 for $500 back then. It's $600 now. And because for Amazon, you're going to need an ISBN for your paperback and your hardcover. On Amazon, you don't need an ISBN for your ebook or your audiobook. But when you get to Ingram Spark, you need 3. You need one for your ebook. But what you can do is use the same ISBNs from Amazon for Ingram Spark. I know that's confusing. See, that's where I have to get everybody through this. So for you, I would suggest you buy 10 ISBNs for $300 from Bowker.
Let me be clear, because that was confusing. When you use Amazon's ISBN, it is free, but you can only sell the version or the copy that ISBN is connected to. And from my understanding, you basically, for every individual version or style of book, hard copy, soft cover, ebook, right? You would need an ISBN for it. Well, ebooks you don't need. You need an individual number for it.
You've really done your studying, I can tell. On KDP, you don't need it for the ebook, but on Ingram Spark, you do.
Okay. And so basically the ISBN number is per version of the book, right?
Yes. And because that's why when you put your book up, I say either do your hardcover or paperback first, because otherwise they're going to compete together. And most people are going to buy the paperback because it's going to be reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to Bowker, but real quick. When you add color to a book, it doubles the price of the book. When you add, so I just want you to know that. And also little bigger books cost a little bit more, not much more. But if they're black and white, then they don't. So you want to just know that that's going to happen right off the bat there too. And so anyway, so back to Bowker. So you buy your $300, 10 for $300 Bowkers. And you on Amazon are going to use one for your paperback and one for your hardcover. And you just fill in the information there, and you don't have to don't fill in everything for Bowker, but when we get to KDP, we have to fill in every little detail perfectly. And on KDP, you can change every single thing about your book except for one thing once it's published, and that's your title and subtitle.
Talk about a whirlwind of information. This is why you do what you do.
I'm a fire hose, and I'm sorry I teach that way, but I had a teacher who taught me herbology for 20 years, and she taught that way. And I love it. I can't help it. I give you everything, but you might need me to connect it.
For a lot of my people, they end up listening to this driving around. I do have the video version for people. So I want to shift gears just a little bit as we kind of start to come into the final leg of this, our podcast. Tell me a little bit about working with you. Tell me what it looks like from pen to published. Tell me how working with you happens, where you work with people. Just tell me about your business.
Well, what I mainly am having really good results with is people sign up for my 3-month or 6-month or year program. And we meet once a week. And wherever you're at, that's what we do. Like, let's say you're writing. Okay, well, I might give you an assignment. Okay, we'll finish your chapter list so we can look at that. And then maybe they want me to do a little bit of developmental editing, so that counts for hours. So let's say you're doing 3 months, that's 12 hours with me, and I always give a couple extra. And then whether we're meeting or I'm reading your book, that's what counts. And then, but we're getting it done. That's what's happening. And so we go right where you're at. Now, some people come in like you with a book, and I'll say, okay, well, we need to set this up and this up and this up and get this going. And then let's say now it's time to publish. I'm going to hold your hand. Okay, click this, choose this category. Now everything I say, by the way, Josh, is only a suggestion, because when you're self-publishing, unlike traditional, everything's up to you. And so I'm only giving you all the dots, and you have to decide which ones you want. And so, but what I do is wherever someone is, I just hold their hand. Like I said, we just published 2 books this week, and I held their hand. Okay, make sure you click this and make sure you don't do a space after your title. I had a problem with that one time. And then go to the second page. We'll fill it in. Now we're going to look at it. Okay, good. It looks good. Okay, go to the third page. What's your price? I tell them the pretty prices, and some people insist, no, I don't want $17.95. I want $19.95. Well, they'll sell a few less books, but they don't believe me, so that's okay. It's their decision. So then we put their price in, and then we go down and get samples. And then after we all look at the samples, like my grandmother's book had 100 rare pictures in it. Now for a cookbook, you'll need a lot more too. We had to do 8 samples. Most books 1 sample, some books 2. So you don't want to publish without a sample, but for your cookbook, I would suggest several samples. In fact, you know what I do? This is very interesting. Halfway through, when people aren't even done with the book, but they're close, I have them load the PDF and get a sample and get a fake cover from Amazon, and then they can start, it gets people excited. They look at it, they go, oh my gosh, we're looking at it, and then they go, oh, but I really want to move this over here, and I want my page number over there. You get
that editing feel, and you hit the nail on the head too. If it lights their fire a little bit, it doesn't just become this droning on process. That's cool. That's a really cool little tidbit. I like that. So, okay, and just to be clear, and I think part of it was I misunderstood you, because I thought it was realistically pushing people through the publishing side of things. You actually, your processes is these segmented months, 3, 6, 12 months, and it's really taking every step through the writing process with someone. Yes.
And I have to give a warning to you guys that once you work with me, you'll have other ideas. So this woman put out a very funny book, this cat book. And yesterday we just published her second book, which is Fun Feline Facts. And she puts in these funny things at the end. I encouraged her because, a group of cats is called a crowder, but a group of rhinos is called a crash. And like a group of squirrels, I think it's called the fluff, the things they do. So I thought that was so funny. I said, put that at the back of the book. And now my husband, he wants to use some of those in the talks he gives to this water department he works for. And so I always say, well, let's put this at the back of the book. Let's, I have these ideas, and it kind of makes the books better. And I've read books. I can do developmental editing. But I love her because now she's working on her third book, Ginger the Cat Loves Christmas. Darling books. Darling writer. She's from Philadelphia, and we've been working together off and on for 5 years. You know what she did? She had memes on Facebook about her cat, and she came to my first classes, and we write our short book in a day. And she said, I said, why don't you take those memes and make a book out of it? So after her cat passed, she was lonely for her cat, so she did. And the book is very entertaining, extremely beautiful. And so that's where we got her ideas, was just from memes on Facebook.
I love it. That's amazing. And then one note, I know you said you had a workshop coming up, correct?
Yeah, on September 20th, and I do it probably 4 times a year, so you can find them on my website, milajohanson.com. You can always sign up there. I always have it up there for the next one. And it's called Write Your Short Book in a Day. And if you do my formula, you will write a short book in a day or finish it the next day. Work on it for a week, get it published in a week or 2. You could have a book up, and these are for short books, that you can use. A lot of people are using these books as their lead magnet. When people see my book, they sign up with me. Or when they read my book, they go, oh my gosh. And this barely skims the surface of things I was talking about today, but it kind of blows people's minds. I say, do one thing at a time. But this book has garnered me 7,000 emails. I know that's not a lot for some people, but for me, that was a lot, because I started with not even just my own little list on Gmail, right? And now I have I have my CRM, and I send out notices all the time. So write your short book in a day. It's really fun. It's 5 hours, but it seems like a long time, but it isn't. What we do is we write for 20 minutes, and then we talk about publishing. And people love that. And then we write for 20 minutes, and I have really entertaining PowerPoints about publishing. And by the end of the day, a lot of people come just to work on their manuscript in progress, and a lot of people pay, it's $27. It's not much money. I do it just to get people in, and then people sign up with me to work with me because they see I know what I'm talking about. But it's a fun class. It's just write your short book in a day, and yeah, it's been.
And what was the date? One more time for those who may be interested.
September 20th. 10 to 3, that's Pacific time, 10 to 3, or, starts at 1 Eastern time. And I get quite a few people. They love it. And we have a lot of fun.
And the sign up is on your website.
Yeah, milajohanson.com.
Beautiful. Do you have any socials or anything else to find you?
Oh yeah, I'm on Facebook, and I have a really nice Facebook group that gives tons of advice, and you
Cool.
can post your books coming out. It's called Write Your Short Book Today.
Perfect.
Write Your Short Book Today. And I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I haven't been able to figure out Instagram, but I've taught Facebook and Twitter. Well, guess what I did on Twitter? I found this way. I had 56 followers for 8 years. I had no idea what to do with it. And suddenly I found this formula, and I went to 8,000 followers. And
Hey, good for you. That's amazing. I had 56 followers and I didn't know what to do. I know that feeling. That's amazing. Well, listen, Mila, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk with you. And as someone who is and has been struggling with publishing, this was refreshing. So I can't thank you enough. Seriously.
Well, thank you for having me. And you're a joy too.
Well, I have a feeling.
All that work and you have book ready.
2 books, but I have a feeling you will be back on. I will ask you to come share some knowledge again soon. So again, thank you so much. And we will talk soon.
Thank you.